Thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Brassy Broadcast. I'm your host, Jen Eads. I'm a musician, a student of the creative universe, and a curious girl full of questions. I'm also the head broad in charge at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, where I help good people of all kinds create and produce podcasts and other audio content that puts them in the ears, heads, and hearts of new audiences. You can listen to the entire back catalog of the Brassy Broadcast at brassybroad.com. And if you want to hang out and continue the conversation, we can connect on Instagram and Twitter at BrassyBroadGen. This episode is one of experimentation. Lately, I've become more interested in narrative-style podcasting. The creative soul in me wants more than just an interview show. My vision is to create a hybrid that weaves interviews, stories, and sound design all together. It all starts with a story. Today, I'm sharing one of mine. This episode is the story only. There will be a companion episode to follow this one, and that will be my podcasting nerd version of the director's cut. I'll break down the production and share how creative decisions were made, and it will also serve as a record for me to consult when I listen back in a year and cringe and wonder, why in the heck did I make that decision there? So it's like a benchmark episode. I've chosen to share this particular story now as we head into June, which is Pride Month. It's a time of celebration and reflection in the LGBT community. We've come a long way, thanks to the tireless work of those within the community and our allies. There's still much work to be done, but it's nice to take a minute to celebrate. And who doesn't love a fabulous parade? Unfortunately, I know people that still can't openly celebrate because they are closeted. But it goes much deeper than not attending a parade. They can't be the fullest, most glorious versions of themselves because they have to hide the greatest gift that we are given as humans: love. They can't openly share their love. If you haven't lived it, it's hard to imagine. Here's my short story. Mom Knows. I hope that it helps you in some way, or at least shines a little light. Mom knows, she said. Mom knows what? I asked. Mom knows you're gay. That Saturday morning, I was forced out of the comfort of my closet by the two scariest words in the English language. Mom knows. The life I had enjoyed for 27 years went up in a mushroom cloud as those two words dropped into my world. No more family vacations, no more family Christmases, no more celebrating my dad's birthday with homemade ice cream and fireworks on the 4th of July. My parents' circle of friends would no longer refer to me as Barb and Gary's musician daughter or the one that works where they have those big concerts. I would now only be mentioned in hushed whispers as the gay one. There was no time that morning to really process the bomb my sister had so casually dropped. I had to lead orientation for 150 new concession employees at the amphitheater. My breakdown would have to wait until after I taught folks how to properly pour beer. I was in my office preparing that morning when the call came. Jen, it's your mom. We exchanged some pleasantries and talked about how unfortunate it was that my sister and her jerk of a boyfriend had broken up. My mom proceeded to tell me that Mr. Jerkface sent her an email about what an awful person my sister was, and just for kicks and giggles, at the end of it, told my mom I was gay. She asked if it was true. I was exhausted. Living a lie is hard work. He's not lying, was all I could say. Other than some tears, uncomfortable silence, and I shouldn't have let you play football at recess. The rest of that conversation is a bit of a blur. We hung up, and off I went to lead my orientation. Speaking of orientation, Mother's Day weekend was the first time I went home to visit after that awkward Saturday morning conversation. I had a 2.5-hour drive to my parents' house to let all of the worst-case scenarios play out in my head. I walked in the door. My mom made me some lunch. My dad came in from cutting the grass, sat down, and said, "So, tell us about your new orientation." That was not one of the scenarios I had played out in my head. So I just sat there and listened. "You're going to hell. What are your friends going to say?" "Well, we can't tell your grandmother." "I will not step foot in your house if you're living there with another woman." It was brutal. Happy Mother's Day. Fast forward a couple weeks, I asked my mom what concert she wants to come see that summer. "Sarah McLachlan," she answered. Oh no, not Sarah. Not Sarah. Not Lilith Fair. The one day of the summer concert season when thousands of ladies, accompanied by their special lady friends, would descend upon the venue, holding hands, dancing, frolicking, enjoying a day, safe to feel comfortable in their own skin. Sure, I'll get you tickets. I had to start planning. How was I going to manage my mother's experience while managing 200 employees and making sure that the other 19,999 people in the venue had plenty of beer and hot dogs? What's a girl to do? Call in the lesbians. I put my 2 gay besties in the box seats with my mom and sister. A day filled with potential for disaster turned out to be a blessing. My mom met my gay friends that day. They welcomed her to their table in the VIP club and into the community with kindness, compassion, and a few cosmos. We've come a long way as a family in the years since that guy emailed my mom. Over the years, my rage and disgust with him has shifted to gratitude. I'm happy to report that my parents love my wife, Beth. I don't think we can keep my dad out of our house if he knows Beth is throwing something on the grill. And now the big joke is that she's the daughter my parents always wanted. I know it's not always easy for my mom and dad. We live in Indiana. It's a conservative state. Our former governor, and now vice president, gave a solid effort here to try to legalize discrimination toward the LGBT community under the guise of religious freedom. And there were some folks here that had no problem with that. My mom has become an advocate for equality, wanting me to enjoy the same rights and tax exemptions as my sister. Because of her advocacy and support, I've read comments on her Facebook page from some of her friends that I know upset her. They upset me, and it takes every bit of self-control I have not to fire off a snarky comment. But I'm learning to let it go and just keep scrolling. If you're listening to this and hoping your family doesn't find out, just know that you're not alone. I'm not going to tell you that life will be all rainbows and unicorns if your family finds out. But there are people like me that understand your fear and struggle. You are not alone. The beauty of family is that family isn't always biological. Those women that welcomed my mom to the table that day at Lilith Fair are as much my family as the one I was born to. Find your people. We're out here, scattered in big cities and down rural county roads. It hasn't always been easy. But today, I am so grateful Mom knows. Thanks for listening. If you want to share your story, tweet me at BrassyBroadJen. Now get out in the world and do some good.